Hello everyone, welcome to Artwork by Dutch. This is, I screwed up. So I went through and I had already flatted this entire thing and I was speaking. So this is what it's going to look like at the end of it. But I'm going to go back and go and sample the pages. I'm gonna, probably going to 5 minutes tutorial here. This took me less than a half hour to do. There are different ways in Photoshop to go ahead and make selections. One way I've at least discovered was the Margaret Garcia's way, and it works if you've got some really great inked line art. Oftentimes when you're a flatter, you're going to get pieces that are right off the penciler's desk, scanned in, and sent over. And I love Marta's way because it helps select, and you can then contract the pixel selection down to 2 or 3 to come into the line art, fill with one color, and then go from there. But when you're dealing with scanned pencil line artwork that hasn't been adjusted, hasn't been filtered out, Shelby's very good at doing that on his Ragetality art. This one I think he actually inked today on his stream, but what happens though is, like you said, you're going to pick up those artifacting. Pick up the artifacting on the artwork, and it is going to be tough because then you have to go through and then edit the page out, and you're putting more work for yourself. And as a flatter, our job is to make selectable colors, selections, make them quick, so that way the colorist, the next one down the line, because we're a flat colorist, we're a colorist as well. So I want to get that defined first for everybody. When you're flatting, you are a flat colorist. You are a colorist. That's what you're doing. You are a colorist, professional. And sorry, I'm just going on to Facebook just to let people know. So with Shelby, he gave me permission to go ahead and do this one because it's not one of his cards, one of the things he's it's going to be a surprise for the next tier and his Indiegogo. So you're the first part. We're basically like if you're making when a house is being Chip and Joanna on their show, you're going through your painting. You're making it nice and ready. You're putting in the furniture, and then the designer comes in and they make it all frou-frou and nice and everything. So that's what the next renderer does, is make it frou-frou, make it nice. But our job is to make these colors selectable, and oftentimes you'll get the reference from the artists themselves, or from another person who's assigning you the work to use. But we try to stay away from neon colors and things like that unless it's called for. So we are going to quickly, I have an action that, if it ever shows up here, as my friend Keenan Lafferty says on the Ken Kill show, it's sketch lifts. You're just ripping the artwork off of the white background. So I'm not, this is a normal blending mode. When you're using multiply, you may have seen some artists where they will take that line art. I'm going to go back. They will take this, they'll make a new line, drop it below the line art, set the line art to multiply, and that's cool and all. Some of the issues though is when it comes to color holding, it's going to end up being a little darker, and you also have all this information here, this white pixels, that is going to make it memory driven. It's going to be a hog on your memory on your computer. I'm going to go back and set everything back. So what I like to do is I like to lift it off there, and that's sketch lift. This, as it's, you know, the name came from Keenan, but I think he got it from somebody else as well. But it's available on my Patreon and in my Gumroad, and it does work in the current Photoshop 2021. And if you know, 2022 hits and doesn't, I usually make updates to it and find what's going on and make the changes. But what it does is it rips it, so now the artwork is on a transparent background. And I also do tutorials too in Clip Studio. That's what I use a lot for my own illustration, for my own personal comic called Wayfarer, and Demon Hunter Jose, and another one called T.R.I.B.E. And in there they've got an opacity, convert opacity to brightness, so that basically just does the same thing. It rips away the white pixels and leaves the black on there, and you can then go ahead and make another layer below. Usually I have to add this back in the action to lock that line art, but once I have it there, one of the things that makes it quick for us, and again, since I've already done the piece, I'm not going to go and rehash this whole thing again, but I will just show you quickly one of the techniques. I'm going to zoom in just enough, and I don't have to zoom in all the way. I know that he inked this versus, he's got a really cool technique he's got from taking the penciled work to make it look like this is inked. He's actually had a lot of people say his work is inked. When they're seeing it on screen, or they're his prints, but it's actually been manipulated in Photoshop. So what I'm doing is I'm just holding on the lasso and Option. I've got a Cintiq 22 HD, so that's got a couple express keys. And all I'm doing is, and I wish Clip would do this as well, is right now I've got it set. It's a free lasso, but right now it's a poly or magnetic lasso. But if I wanted to, I can come and draw all this in, and I can come draw, and I wish Clip would have that. Right now you have to use the add to selection. So I'm going to go and then hit Shift and Option. You hit Shift first, you get the plus symbol, you see there. Touch the screen or touch your tablet, then hold down Option, and now you can then go do the same thing. Make it a free magnetic lasso. Here I'm going to show I'm just drawing this. Can't do that in Clip. And I swear, once Clip gets this lasso figured out, done. Photoshop, you're over. I'm sorry, but you know, I probably would still need Photoshop for my day-to-day comic job, but for doing everything else, I could do everything in Photoshop and Clip Studio then. So I'm just coming through. Like I said, I'm not going to go and do all this since I just finished flatting the entire piece, and I didn't realize I had to actually go into YouTube in my browser and sign in there and do everything. So this is my second stream. So I see some areas. Now, just like you see some other artists on their YouTube channels making a selection and then they fill it in with a color, we can do the same thing. Just fill it with a base color. And then from there, I just come through. If I'm going to do this shoulder pad, I'm going to select the color from there. See, I missed here. Let me show you how quick this goes. Won't even talk. Now I'm going to go to the other shoulder pad. I've got my navigator set up because I like to see everything. It allows me then to easily move it around. But I'm just holding down Shift and Option, making a quick selection. Got my paint bucket, but Dutch, you've painted outside in the blue. You know, if you hit fill on the paint bucket, it's going to fill the entire thing, and you have to go back in and select it. Actually, no. I've got it set so everything is off. Anti-alias, contiguous, all layers, tolerances to 0. Make sure your opacity is 100 and it's at normal. Now if I just touch with my bucket anywhere, it's going to fill in those areas. Like I said, I see some areas I missed. Come back in. Now I'm just filling in. And just do the same thing. And this is, boys and girls, what makes me get this done. And I'm just going to rip through this real quick. Boom, hitting the, but Dutch just did it again. Well, yeah, I did go in that other color, but as long as I'm filling in this area, that was this color. If I hit here, yeah, it's going to fill in, but I'm not. You know, and if you do, you just undo. So I am a professional comic book colorist for hi-fi comic color design, as well as other industry artists, Marvel. So I've a lot of Marvel artists. I've done a lot of Marvel pieces now. I would like to do more. So Marvel, if you're on there, whoop. And any Marvel colorists out there, I am available. So please hit me up. I am well worth the price being asked because you are paying for a service I can provide. Yeah, I'm making mistakes. I'm just going loosely here because again, I just flatted this entire piece. I did a whole, what I thought was a video and recording. So I'm kind of upset, but I'm learning. So here, another little tip and trick, as I did with the shoulder pads, is you're just trying to find ways that make your job go easier as a flatter. We get paid depending on who you're working with. With some industry artists, you're going to get a good pay. With others, you know, have a base rate and know yourself. You know your price, know what you're worth. I can't stress that enough. And you know, if somebody says they don't want to, that's fine. You know, you can go ahead and get whomever from the Philippines that's going to use Clip Studio or do something different. I've had different flats I've actually had to redo because the person took a pen tool and just filled in this area. They just did this. You know, they went through with their pen, and I'll deselect, slow that down, and they just did this. You know, that's all they did. I think that's just a pencil. Well, it's still the brush. Let's choose a good one. Let's choose a paint. You know, if I turn off the line art, I've had to redo all this where, you know, because again, depending on what, if they did a hard brush, that, you know, I'm just being a little cheeky. So let's choose like a hard brush. Line art back on. You know, so now we're getting the full paint coming out. But I've had people just do that, and you know, you can tell that it's been painted, and I've had to redo stuff like that. Plus two, you know, with us here, you have to have some integrity, etc. I know you want to show off the newest thing. You just got this major artist, say you're doing Oliver Copiel, and you want to show it off right away because you just finished it. Well, you know, you have to hold back on some of those things. You have to hold back and not show it until the artist or the colorists themselves have gotten their approval from their editor to do it. I've got one artist that I work with that you know, his wife, his editor, and I think I was maybe his son. I don't know if I was the fourth or fifth person, but I was like, I had to hold off. I couldn't show anything. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything. Even after the announcement was made, I still waited until the actual issue came out and then revealed that, you know, here's the actual flats behind it. You know, this is what I did, and able to go through and show what I did. You know, it's a gentleman's agreement, or you know, just integrity. want to show a little loyalty to them, and that they'll come back to you. So I'm making big selections now, and I'm just coming through, and yeah, I've been chatting, but this went by pretty quickly. One thing I do, and I've had a conversation with one of my buds, Tony Rodriguez, whom I'll be doing. I'm trying to edit the video, figure out how to do a voiceover on it and edit. It's also another flat one of his pieces. Beautiful piece, Secret War, homage reproduction. And, we had discussions about what I do, how I'm able to get some pieces done, knocked out so quickly. And it's because I put on a movie that I like, that I know the ins and out of. Like if I want to watch Dune, I just did that last night when I was doing quite a few of Shelby's pieces. I just watched Dune because I know it in and out. And so I know myself when to pause and pay attention to that. In fact, on this one I saw I might have cut into his muscle here. I'll fix that real quick. Save. Always save. Save often. That's going to be your thing to help you. Oh, I didn't do it on this one. I did on the... See, I'm thinking that's probably actually because his arm's here. So, we'll just undo. But yeah, so if another movie I love is Big Trouble in Little China. So I know the ins and out of when Jack Burton's on screen and the best lines and when to pay attention. Tone, because he used to do some artwork for the comic and stuff and covers. It's one of his favorite movies as well, so he wants to watch it all the way through. But while I'm flatting, it just helps me because then I know time-wise, oh, I'm at the part where they're in the upside dungeon of hell. So I know exactly what that point is, or when he's infiltrating the brothel. I know that's when I can stop and look, or okay, now we're sliding down. They've just taken the mojo juice and they're feeling fine and everything, and they're sliding down. So I know, okay, now we're towards the end of the movie, and then they're now doing the blades, piercing the women. So I'm like, okay, now this piece is taking me almost 2 hours, an hour and a half to do. So I have an idea. So that's one way I do it. I also, like I said, choose this color. I always think about what the color I'm going to use to incorporate. So I want it to show up in there. So that way, I can use it as a check, see that I miss any areas. I'll paint this real quick. I'm just going to paint this other area here a different color. I'm not going to fill it all in. I'm just going to come through and show you what I'm talking about. So now I've filled it in. Now I can come in here and I can select, oh, okay, so we got this bracelet. Because I want to keep the sword this color. Now I can come back in and I can change the color for this bracelet. And when you're flatting, you want to stay in this little safe zone area. Sometimes you do need to go in here. Again, what we're doing as colorists is we want to try to have so much high K-tones. Technology's got a lot better, so it's not going to get as muddy, but we want to try to avoid these high K-tone numbers. I think for Brian, he's got if the whole thing in this area has up to 240, that's above 240, that's a little high, it might get muddy, colors might blend together. You can read more about that in his hi-fi coloring book, How to Color Comics. Great read. But sometimes you go in this area, and what's going to happen is when Shelby then makes these selections, he is going to come in here and say, okay, that's a bit too dark. I need this to be, I'm going to start changing this color, make it a little lighter, not that light, a bit more saturation, but now I'm looking for, that's a cool color, now there we go, now it's just more lighter color, deselect. We're going to take a look at what the color is. So now, okay, tones are, I was down in here, but now it's a lot less. Or you can just say, hey, you know what, I really like that, but I'm going to hue shift it up and do something a little lighter, select it, oops, hue shift it up, select, pop that color, and I was like, oh, I like that better, So that's what he's going to do, and that's what they're going to do. Because they're going to come in and paint and render this thing out and make it look really nice, and, that, our job is just to make it selectable, and a lot of times we'll get the reference from the client. Sometimes you may not. So I'm just, oops. I got some highlights in there. I'll come in, these ridges. Because this is what Shelby's going to end up doing. He's going to end up spending a lot of time coming in with all these cuts, giving it depth. Now he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to make this highlight color. I'm going to give it a little shine. It's like, oh, I wiped out some of my stuff, or I could keep it like that. Now it's got some depth to it, Or I just may keep it white, but that's what he's going to decide. What's going to happen here. Gonna figure all that out and do the rendering, and I've been practicing. Usually the hi-fi method, my brush would actually be in screen, and I would be painting with light. And then making another selection. I can keep coming in and making more of a highlight. Now I want to, well, normally this layer would have been locked in, but yeah, so that's good little rim lighting. So that's what Shelby's going to end up doing to that piece. And then he's going to continue to do that for the rest. So he's just making selective colors. He's got the right kind of blue, but I just want to make it a little darker. Or he's going to make it a little lighter, depending on whatever. That's what we're there to do, make selective colors. You're going to find some creators out there that are going to want you to use a theme. That's great. If you have that, you can stay, as a colorist, we can use a color palette. You can pick this blue and then pick an orange on the side, like for the background, and so it can make this pop out more, but we're just making the selection. It's up to the colorist, the renderer, the renderer next in line from your job is to read how this looks. He's going to make that warmer, cooler, make decisions, add material in the background to make it pop. Maybe you want to mute the background and just have the focus be the character, so we're focused in on that, and just put some sort of image in the back that's fuzzed out by Gaussian blur. And that's what they're going to do to gussy that all up, make it look pretty. So, I've been doing this for 25 minutes here, probably with, if I wasn't talking, I'd have had this figure done in 20 minutes, doing it all, and, this is what the end result's going to look like once that's done. And I like to leave the background. This is the original color I used for the sword. I'm just clicked on it to see are there any more dancing ants. Maybe there's an area I missed. I do have color schemes, a reference for Shelby's work here for this character for Rage. I just unfortunately moved it to a different folder once I was done, and so of course Photoshop, when I went to look for it, is not seeing that any further. But definitely check out and support. Please back Shelby's Ragetality War at Indiegogo. It's fantastic. I've seen the artwork. I've seen the cards, dudes. So I know the behind-the-scenes stuff. I can't say what it is, how it looks, how beautiful the artwork is. So unlock those tiers and go get it. And be prepared. I think he even might show this on his channel on American Discord. I believe that's what his channel is. I'm just going to double check here real quick on the YouTube iPad just to see what's going on. Where is he? And if you're looking for a flat colorist to do your work, yeah, it's American Discord. Please hit me up. It is artworkbydutch@gmail.com, or you can get it in my streamerlinks.com/Dutch, and you can definitely hit me up there. I also do commissions too, and links to all my other work. So stay tuned. I'm going to go do some more live streams like this throughout the week. Definitely want to show my comic, The Wayfarer, and the progress. I've already scripted the 5th issue. It's been approved by my editor. I do still need the work because 5th through 10th issue is going to be a five comic arc, and it's going to be doozy, introducing some more new characters in the mythology and the world building of this Wayfarer world, and definitely moving it along. So I have to get the 6th issue. I want to get all this wrapped up so that way I can then start to pencil and ink. So I do it all on this, but I will reach out to different artists though for some new covers, variants and stuff. And let's see, is there anything on this that I need to change for Shelby? Probably not. So I'm going to save. And I'm going to go through that. Yesterday I did a live stream just doing the variant cover, an homage based on Adam Hughes' I think Zatanna cover. Beautifully done. Nicely done by myself. Pat myself on the back here. But definitely hit up the information all in the description. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button, please. It's greatly appreciated. And if you're interested in the sketch lift action, like I said, it's available on my Patreon. I also believe I have it on my Gumroad as well, so all the information is in the description. And I will see you guys later. Thank you. Have a good night. Cheers.